Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps, Jerel, Hendricks, back on the boards as always. We are here tonight, folks, for our 3A, 4A, and 5A season preview show here on Moving the Chains, talking about the big boys. Last night we had 1A, 2A, and skis. If you missed that, go back and check it out. But tonight, all about the big classes, John. I cannot wait to get rolling here.
Yeah, this is good stuff. We've got I feel like a little more consistency, and we'll start off with 3A, a little bit more consistency in the realignment with 3A. But man, we have some really good teams here, and we'll get into it. It might be a fight for number 2 in 3A, but if that's the case, we're gonna have a fun fight for number 2.
No doubt. If you guys are tuning in the first time, we really appreciate that. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains, our website, movinchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Each and every Tuesday during the season at 7:15, we go live on YouTube and Facebook with our weekly preview shows. Hopefully you'll tune in next week for week 1. Can't wait to get that going. The show is best when you guys are commenting and engaging and giving us your thoughts as well. So hopefully we'll have you back next week, joining us as we get ready to talk some real ball. But while you're here, guys, get your Moving the Chains merch. You see it on the screen there. Email us, info@movinchains.com. Some great Richardson hats, gray front, black front, gray back, khaki back, whatever you like. Some nice new athletic shirts here. Really comfortable stuff. We've got some performance hoodies as well, along with our old school stuff. Still have the old kind of gray and stone hoodies. Still have the old black and navy and white T-shirts, gray T-shirts, pink T-shirts. Order yours today. Support the boys. Help us make this show better and better. And also our stickers and toboggan stickers right now. Get one for your computer, for your car, for your cup, whatever it is. Love to have you supporting the boys. Email us info@movinchains.com or send us a direct message on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. Love to have you supporting us and helping us grow this brand. Jerel, any comments from the chat before we get going here? We're going to go, guys, from 3A, 4A, up to 5A tonight. Brandon says, hello, fellas. Great show last night. We do a great job. Thank you, Brandon. Really appreciate that. Enjoyed talking about 1A, 2A, and skis last night. Excited for 3, 4, and 5 tonight. Kevron says, good evening, Go Gray Collegiate. That'll be a fun bunch in 5A this year, Kevron. Thank you for joining us as always. Billy Ott says, fear the deer. I'll tell you guys right now, watch out for Berkeley, a team I've got my eye on in 5A. Appreciate Slick being in here with us tonight as well.
Let's get into it, boys. Let's go to 3A.
Well, let's start with 3A. If you guys didn't watch last night, what we're going to do, we're going to go through the recent SC Prep poll that came out. Obviously, not our poll. We don't necessarily agree with it, but it gives us a great starting point for some of these teams. John, let's read through the receiving votes, 10 through 1, and we'll kind of give our thoughts on some of these teams here in this 3A classification for 2026.
Yeah, we'll start with the guys that are getting votes. We've got Christchurch, Hanahan, Crestwood, Swansea, Gilbert, Emerald, and Broome all getting votes outside that top 10. Standing at 10, we've got Seneca. At 9, Bishop England. 8 is Wren. 7, Powdersville. 6, Loris. 5th, and getting one first place vote, is Belton Honeypath. Number 4 is Hartsville. 3, we have Daniel. They get one first place vote. Number 2, Camden. And number 1, your defending state champs, Oceanside, getting 13 of those first place votes.
You got to start the conversation, obviously, with Oceanside Collegiate. And I'm kind of surprised they don't get all 15 first place votes after what we've seen the last couple of years. Back-to-back state championships, 3 in a row for those guys. And they bring a lot of pieces back. Quarterback Aiden Manavian, absolute gunslinger. Recently, a Davidson commit, 42 touchdowns last week. And we thought he had weapons last year. They got even more weapons this year. Anthony Williams is back. He's a UNC commit. They pick up Jaden Kelly Murray. The landlord comes over from Somerville, a stud on both sides of the football, a Colorado commit right now, just a demon out wide for them. They're going to be a fun team to watch. Also you got to mention Cooper Webb is a great receiver for them. Running back wise, James O'Connor, we're going to take the load there. Defensively, Strickler, Gaspar are both back on the back end for them. Coach LaPrad's bunch is going to be tough to beat again, John. They have been a fun team to watch the last couple of years, the way they sling it around. And it's just, I don't know how you don't have them in number 1, so I'm glad they are in this poll here. But there would be a great team to watch at the number 1 spot for sure.
And, we talk about this Oceanside team. We talk about Manavian. We've seen him play, it seems like 5 years now. he's been playing. He's been so good, so long. He's had a great high school career. He's going to do great things at Davidson.
Yeah.
We don't talk about as much about the defense. This team, they could score 10, 14 points a game and win just about every game they play.
Yeah.
The defense has been very stingy. And then, adding a player like Jaden Kelly Murray as well. It's just the rest of 3A's got to just be shaking their head going, oh my gosh, the rich have gotten richer here. It's, it's incredible what they've done as a program, what they do there. And they play a good brand of football. It's not just, they don't come out there and goes, oh, wow, they're just bigger and faster than everybody. No, they just are a really, really sharp and good football team. But hey, there's an entire classification. Football, crazy things can happen. Back behind them, that rearview mirror is full of some good teams and some teams that have come down from 4A as well. That have been really good 4A teams last 2 years. Are now 3A. That one that really stands out to me is Daniel. And another team, we talked a lot about this team last year, Wren, a team that has got some positive momentum. There's some really good programs stacked up in that top 10. I think this 3A slate's going to be really good. It's going to be really fun to watch. We'll talk about Orangeburg and Week of Champions when we get there. But from now until then, we're going to see some really, really good football. I think especially in the upstate as well.
For sure. The second and third team there in the poll, Camden and Daniel, the last time we saw them in 3A, they were playing a incredible overtime state title game just a few years back. So great to see them back in 3A. Camden led by Grayson Remp at quarterback, receivers Isaiah Smith and Will Horner, defensively LeVay Penny and Kenneth Lawson, Jaden Manning as well. Coach Remp always has a great squad there. Will be a fun team to follow out of the lower state. And then Daniel, loaded offensively. Quarterback Jace Grass is back. 2,800 yards, 31 touchdowns, just 2 picks last year. Great weapons outside with Trey Wembley and Jerb Hunter. Wembley, the Clemson commit there. Running back Kingston Big. Defensively, PJ Chancellor, the Clemson commit. Kevin Jackson on the back end for Coach Stone in year 2. They're a team I think is going to be a very dangerous bunch in the upstate in 3A. They will be fun to watch. A team that intrigues me, John, is number 4 there, Hartsville. A team that with Coach Calabrese always seems to get better as the season goes. He does a great job coaching those guys up, finding out what works and what doesn't work. They've got a second-year starter there, Ford Wallace. Trace Hillian at the running back spot's a really good player. Offensive line led by Fred Turner. Defensively, got to find a few pieces here to step in. I like Rod Cranford. I like Zion Mason. But that Red Fox bunch, always dangerous. Another team you mentioned, John, coming down from 4A to 3A this year.
And they're a team that, and I might be wrong here. I know it's been a long time since we were playing football. I feel like Hartsville, we talked about last year being a little bit of a younger group.
Yeah. And
now you've got more experience. You obviously have a great coaching staff in place. And I love the brand of football they play. They are playing, especially offensively, they are playing downhill, fast, coming at you. This sounds cliche, I know, but it's a very offensive offense style that they play. They're not just snapping the ball and hand it off. It seems like all 11 guys are in motion going forward and they snap the ball. It's a fun team to watch. You get a little bit of speed on that group. Yep. They're very, very tough to defend. That's going to be a really fun team to watch there.
The two teams at 5 and 6, I don't know what to make of them. Belton Honeypath at the 5 spot, new head coach, Coach Crane comes over from Seneca. You lose a lot of pieces. You got a quarterback battle with Bowler and Crooks right now. Receiver Sheldon Almers is your go-to guy out wide. They do have 4 offensive linemen back. I like that a lot. Defensively led by Glenn and Dubose. But, you think about what all they've lost last couple of years. Marquez Henderson 2 years ago, Jakari Anderson and Noah Thomas and Tajay Watson-Martin over at Westside this year. That's a lot to replace for a first-year head coach. 5 seems maybe a touch high for me right now, just off of what we know about that group. Not saying they can't get to that spot, but I would have had a hard time putting them that high, and especially a hard time getting the first-place vote right now. A bit of a surprise there for me. And then 6, nobody's beat the Loris drum more than I had the last couple of years, I feel like. But they return 2 starters on offense, 2 starters on defense. I'm a little worried about that team, at least early on in the season. They got Conway week 1. That'll tell us a lot about them. Obviously, I love the running backs. Deuce Stevens and Roderick Percher are both back. Stevens had 16 touchdowns last year. Quarterback Aiden Scott steps in for Moon Gerald. Defensively, 2 good linebackers, J. Dalton Todd, Ethan Shaw. It's just Coach Manson's bunch has got a lot of pieces to kind of fill in there and try to get back to that level. But those are two teams there for me, John, at 5 and 6, that I was a little surprised they were that high when this poll came out.
Yeah, again, it's question marks, but we said the same thing about BHP last year, losing Marquez Henderson, going, hey, well, what are they going to do? And they stepped up. As a team, they stepped up. I think what's going to be really fun about BHP this year, fun to watch them, is that region too. We talked about BHP last 2 years ago. Hey, we'll see what they got when they get to the playoffs. They got Powdersville and Wren in their region this year, and Emerald. Emerald, a team that's getting some love from the coaches poll, or the prep poll, media poll rather. That's going to be a much tougher region for BHP, and that might be a good thing for them. Might cut their teeth with some new pieces in place, new coach. They'll have to get it going quick, but it'll be good to get them ready. And I think they're going to be a good team. If they're a top 5 team, I don't know, but they could be.
Yeah, rounding out the rest of the top 10 there. You mentioned Powdersville at 7. Running back Nazir Waldrop's a great player. Receiver Xavier Huggins a great player as well. Defensively led by McClintock and Works, the two Jadens there. Love what Coach Muster's built. I like that group a lot. That Wren team intrigues me a lot. Coming down from 4A there, Muntu Brown, 1,700-plus yards last year. Kind of got injured late in the year. A big-time playmaker at the running back spot. The quarterback Jacob Owings is back as well. 19 touchdowns last year. Good offensive line anchored by Holden Lane. Defensively, JT Forrester, Travis Woodard in the front 7. They have 12 starters back. They're a good group there for Coach Freight. I think they can make some noise in 3A Upper State. Bishop England, a team that's got to replace a lot on offense. You lose your big-time quarterback, Quinn Mahoney. You lose his number 1 target as well. Defensively, got some good pieces, though. The Tonin brothers, Chase and Trevor, and Matthew Ponkow at defensive end. I think Coach Hall's bunch dropping down as well could be dangerous in the lower state. And the number 10, Seneca, another intriguing team to me. A new head coach, Streak Ellis, takes over for Coach Crane. Quarterback Eli Wiley. Running back, you got to replace Amari Verner. I don't know how you do that, so it's kind of going to be by committee, I feel like, for a while there. Defensively, Jamarion Cobb and Mari Jones lead that group. They're a fun team at that 10 spot as well. A couple teams receiving votes I wanted to shout out, John. You mentioned Christchurch right there. A team that I felt like got better as the season went on. Quarterback Judd Wyndham's back. Michael Martin, the running back, is back. 1,400 yards, 30 touchdowns last year. 4 offensive linemen are back, including Victor Sanders. Defensively, you got Horton and Childers back. That's a team for Coach Hatfield, I feel like, that is poised to make some noise in 3A this year.
Yeah. I think those Greenville private schools, Christchurch, St. Joe's, and Southside, you can never take them lightly. They are a well-coached group, and, they at the end of the year, they figure it out as well. They're a team you don't want to run into in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like that group a lot. Crestwood got some votes. Calvin Walford, the running back, 1,300 yards last year. He's a really good player for them defensively. Gamble and Ricks and Hayes for Coach Nelson there. Quarterback Merrick Yates is back for them. Gilbert, Coach Exume, Chandler Guthrie, Kamari Brown, Landon Guyton are some guys. They lost 23 seniors, but they have 21 this year, John. So we'll see how the Indians shake out there. Another team, Hanahan, 3-year starter at quarterback Trip Gallus. Receivers Mathis and Grant are good players there for Coach Turner. I like that group. But I'll tell you, the team that I like a lot, and, I wrote down some notes here about, who do I think was too high in the poll, who I thought was too low in the poll. So too high, I kind of hit on earlier, BHP and Loris. Kind of thought Camden might have been a touch high as well, honestly. But the 2 low teams, I had Wren written down as too low. And this team didn't make the top 10, and that's Emerald. That Viking squad, John, is going to be really, really good this year. Quarterback Bo Height is back. Running back Christine is back. 1,500 yards last year. They pick up a wide receiver with D1 offers. Desiree Christian comes over from Greenwood. He's a really good player. You pair him with Colson Marino out wide. Defensively, you got Marquise Anderson, Baskins, and Dorflin back. Coach DeBose's squad, I saw them firsthand last year, round 1 of the playoffs, beat a good Fountain Inn team. They've got a lot of those pieces back. I think that Viking squad is a team that deserves to be in the top 10 in 3A, and honestly, they could be in that top half, in my opinion, right now in the rankings. I love that Viking squad. Yeah,
I think they're going to be another great team to watch. It's they had a good year last year. Can you replicate it? Can you do it 2 years in a row? It's an Emerald group that we don't typically talk about much. They certainly put themselves more on the map last year in 4A. So, it'll be tough. But one thing I think that I need to tell myself a little bit is, these 4A teams coming down to 3A, that they might have a little bit easier time this year. I don't know. because a lot of these teams that, especially in the upstate, that are really good at 4A, they're in 3A too. You talk about BHP, you talk about Daniel. Hey, they're still there with you. Seneca, they're still there. But yeah, I agree. My one kind of head scratch for me, honestly, was Bishop England. I think that's a team. I don't know if they're going to be a top 10 team this year. Emerald, I could see it. Christchurch, I could see it. Even Gilbert, Gilbert, I don't think is a program that's going to be down long. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I'm sure week one we'll have a ton of surprises, and we'll completely scrap what we're saying tonight and start over again.
Always. A couple other teams I wanted to shout out. Chapman, Coach Cabanis and the Panthers there. They've been super young the last couple of years. They returned a bunch of those pieces, obviously, quarterback Ashton Moore, running back Tegan Cantrell, receiver Cam Vaughn, defensively Herndon, Burgess, and Tucker. I think they're ready to take the next step. I think they won just maybe one game last year, which is not what you expect out of Chapman. I think they've kind of got it turned around this year. I think they're going to be certainly a contender there out of that Chapman group. Outside of that, I wanted to shout out, so I already did Crestwood as well. Where did it go? Pickens, quarterback Brooks Dow, a South Carolina commit to play tight end, freak athlete, really big kid. They've got a good squad there for Coach Reynolds. I think they're in the position to, obviously make the playoffs, maybe host a playoff game. I think that program's heading in the right direction as well. Wanted to shout out the Blue Flame there. I like what Coach Reynolds is doing with that group. And then Union County, an alum, Brian Robinson, takes over a program that has had some tough years lately, man. But I don't know about you guys. I want them to be good again. I feel like high school football is better when Union County is good. You think about them being a good program. So excited to watch them. Quarterback J.J. Kershaw, running backs Fincher and Smith step in for them. I think they could be a little bit better this year for sure under year one of Coach Robinson. But anybody else you wanted to shout out, John, in the 3A ranks we hadn't touched on yet so far tonight?
I think we covered it. I think for me, the big thing that really stands out to me for 3A is that Region 2. I think that's going to be a really fun, competitive region. And it's great to see BHP getting a fun region again. Not basically be on cruise control till you get to the playoffs. So that's going to be a really fun region to watch.
For sure. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 3A ranks this season?
Just going to throw a bunch of comments out there. I'm just super excited to see, more people from the last year still rocking with us. So we're going to throw them all up there.
Travis, appreciate you, man. He said Westside looking good this year. Newfield's on point. Go Rams. We'll talk about them here in just a minute. Travis, thank you, buddy, for hopping in with us. Michael says, let's go Christchurch Cavs. Looking forward to that squad this year, Michael. Thank you for joining us as always. Kobe says, let's go Malden. Let's work. I like what that Mavericks team's doing there. Coach Coop doing a great job getting them here in a minute in 5A, Kofi. Kevron says, go Edisto. I like that, Kevron. Brandon says three of the class I'm most confident. He thinks Ocean makes it 4 in a row. Loaded again. They are, I think, the odds-on favorite. They would be minus money probably on the books right now to repeat. So 3 will be a lot of fun. Sports Guru says, good evening, fellas. Blue Eagles look strong under Coach Swag. 42 seniors on that Clover squad. Thank you for hopping in, buddy. We'll talk about that group here in a minute. Anthony says Marlboro County will be a handful this year. That's a team we were high on last night. I like that Bulldog squad. Jessica says Camden, go Dogs. Back in 3A, Jessica, should be a fun season for Coach Rimp's bunch there. Travis says 3 will be fun. I think it will be as well. I do think it will too. I feel like there's a lot of depth to that class, it feels like. Chris says, what's up? Good seeing you, Chris. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll get to Gaffney here in the 4 ranks in just a second. Matt says, let's go. Finally, 1 year later, we're back with a new season. Yes, we are, Matt. Excited to get rolling again, man. Ready to get some real action next Friday.
Yeah, no, I think you guys got it all covered. You guys talked about, I think, just about every team in 3A, at least mentioned them. Just going back to the regions, man, I don't think there's any layups. I think it's really competitive. Again, those teams dropping down from 4A, I think they're going to, have their hands full. I don't think there's going to be any sort of layup when it comes to winning a region here. You look at Region 1, you got the matchup. I think Seneca is going to do well. With matching up with Daniel. Can Seneca beat Daniel? That's always the question that we have every year since they play every year. That Region 2 is going to be a slugfest as well. BHP, I'm going to talk about those guys. I think the rankings justified. I don't necessarily agree with the first place vote, but this is a squad that has won 13 plus games the last 3 seasons. So they have found the ability to reload year in and year out. I mean, obviously you're changing out a lot of players, but you're changing out the coach, but this is a program that has been very sustainable. So I really think that they deserve that top, ranking, going into the season. I think they've earned that respect, and I think they're going to do well. Again, I don't think we're going to be able to question schedule. I've been, the one that's really questioned their schedule last 2 years. Their non-region super competitive, and their region schedule is a lot more competitive this year. Region 3, again, Christchurch, you got improved Chapman. Broom's another sleeper program. Blue Ridge is much improved, and you got to think that Union County is going to be better. Region 4, looking at Camden, I think they're the odds-on favorite. In 5 with Bishop England. I love that program. I think they're going to do great things. Oceanside, obviously, we think they're the juggernaut. They're going to win that one. And then 6 with Hartsville, Darlington, Loris. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. Crestwood there too. So I think these are really competitive regions. I think 3A as a whole is going to be a slugfest, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I think Region 6, you touched on there, Jerel, could be really fun because I think Darlington is obviously been getting better and better with Coach Johnson there. Lakewood with Coach Devlin coming in, I think they will be competitive this year as well in some football games. I like what they're doing. Obviously, Loris, I wasn't super high on them a minute ago, but I feel like they're going to be a good team, but I just don't think they're that high right now. And obviously, Annie, with that tough offense they run, Hartsville's going to be good. I think Region 6 will be a lot of fun to follow for sure.
But yeah, I think it should be good.
Perfect. Well, let's make some 3A picks, guys. Upper state, lower state, who do y'all like? I'll go first, and it's going to be super chalky, but I like Oceanside, Collegiate, and Daniel. I mean, it's hard not to take those guys. I think that's who it is for me right now.
Yeah, I have to agree. Oceanside, I can't go against them, and they've got enormous amount of talent. And then on the upper state side, I think Daniel's got the most talent on their side as well. And we know how consistent, how good that program is. For me, more of a question is who they have to go through to get there. I think Hartsville is going to be strong on the lower side. I think I see them in the lower state championship. And I'm going to say Powdersville playing in the upper state championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to bet against Coach Muster, especially when, that grass starts turning brown. So you got to love that Powdersville bunch. They always come to play. Again, I think it's a clean sweep. I think obviously Oceanside, you think they're going to win their 4th in a row with Monavian getting the studs there. Another player I saw over the summer, I went to the Clemson camp, and they have another one of those just 6'5", 6'6" defensive end. Awesome Cole. He's a kid that was really getting after it at camp, got pulled up, with the A group. So I think he's going to be a big-time playmaker on that defense for them as well. So Oceanside's tough to beat, and I'll definitely go with Daniel as well. They just have so much talent. Got the D1 guys that you already pointed out. So I think it's a clean sweep for us on who we think is going to be playing in Orangeburg this year.
Awesome. Well, Jerel, if there's any more comments, Jerel, feel free to put them on the screen. If not, let's shout out some friends of the program and look at the 4A ranks.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with the Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to kona.care to learn more.
All right, John, let's take a look now at the 4A ranks, break down that classification. Let's go through that poll and talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of great teams here, too. So receiving votes, we got a handful of schools. AC Flora, Fountain Inn, Lugoff Elgin, Catawba Ridge, Lucy Beckham, Myrtle Beach, Wilson, and May River all getting votes. Some names you don't typically hear when you start talking about a top 10 poll. And then at 10, we've got Hilton Head. 9 is Greenwood, 8 North Augusta, 7 TL Hanna coming down to 4A, 6 is Indian Land, 5 West Side, 4 South Florence, 3, Gaffney coming down as well, getting 1 first place vote. Also coming down is Irmo at number 2, getting 5 of those first place votes. And number 1, again, a defending state champ, the South Point Stallions with 9 first place votes.
You mentioned that Stallions team, man, just was awesome last year. Won the state title. They do not bring a ton of pieces back from last year's group, but they are still loaded with talent. Running back Rayshawn Brown steps in to carry the load. He'll be a youngster who's really fun to watch. Will be a big-time recruit here, I think, in the next year or two. Offensive line led by Tavius Wiley. Defensively, they got the big defensive lineman Seth Tillman going to Clemson. They've got Jamil Watson at linebacker, Michael Walker at DB for Coach Bobby Collins there. A fun squad again, a team that, last year going into it, we just knew so many of the names. Like, we knew all the guys there. Now it's like you got to kind of relearn some of those because there's some new pieces, but they will be tough to deal with as always. Talk about talent, John. That Irmo bunch is absolutely loaded. Let's start on defense. You got Jaden Bryant, the Miami commit, a top player in the country, man, a superstar there for them, a defensive line. Pair him up with Tyrone Jennings on the interior defensive line. He's a great player as well. Defensive back, Jamar Grissett. Defensive back, Jaden Arrington. Really talented pieces there for Coach Brandon's squad on defense. You flip to offense. You get the transfer running back, Ty Phillips, a Bama commit. You don't see many of those out of our state, so really cool to have him here playing football in South Carolina. Receivers, Ethan Singletary, D. Arrington. Offensive lineman Nate Carson, a South Carolina commit. And the quarterback, the lefty, Britton Davis. That'll be a fun thing to follow, John. I'm really intrigued by what Davis can do. Last year they were kind of rotating quarterbacks, him and Dobson. It's his team now. How will he grow throughout the season and get better and better for that Irmo squad?
Yeah, I think we're going to see an Irmo team that's going to be more consistent than they were last year. We saw that huge matchup. They have a Dutch Fork last year, and we talked before the game like, hey, we think Irmo's the better team. We think they can do this. They're at home, and they kept getting in their own way. They just didn't have, there wasn't a good flow in that football game. I think having that stability at quarterback is going to really help that. At least from the offensive side of the football. This is going to be a really, really good team, really fun team to watch. It's going to be hard to bet against the Yellow Jackets at any point in time this year.
Yeah, they're going to be a lot of fun to follow. Like I said, both sides of the ball are loaded. Really great playmakers over the field. Next week, week 1, they host Rock Hill. Should be a great matchup early on in the season there for Coach Brand, Coach Bullware's bunch. The 3 and 4 spots, you got Gaffney back in 4A now. They got a first place vote at number 3. QB battle with Taylor and Purse. Not sure if they decided yet what they're going to do there. A couple of good options for them. Offensive line led by C.J. Brooks. Running back Amir White, a transfer from Irmo. He's a really good player. We've seen him play the last couple of years. He's a good athlete there. Quintez Hines out wide for them is a good player. Defensively, they are stacked, man. You got DBs Kareem Shaw, Aiden Montgomery, Adrian Monroe, and Zion Dawkins. Love the Dawkins kid there. Then linebackers Kendarius Bailey and Ty McGill. Coach Littlejohn's bunch is loaded again this year. They'll be fun to watch. The defense, I think, will early on keep them in a lot of football games. Got to figure out the offense a little bit as that kind of catches up there for them. The number 4, South Florence, a familiar face, played for 4 straight state titles in 4A. New head coach now, Scott Braswell. The DC at Dutch Fork comes over to lead this Bruin bunch. Quarterback De'Eric Davis, absolute freak. John, we were at that lower state title game last year. We looked over and like, who is this kid taking snaps? And it was De'Eric Davis, probably 6'4", 6'5", 220, 230.
He's a grown man.
Monster back there. He'll be a fun kid to watch at the quarterback spot. Now he's getting his time to shine. Running backs, Cameron James. He'll be a great player for them. Receivers, Robinson, Spears, and Edie. Defensively led by Samari Gellers and Gordon. An X factor for them will be Samaj Parker coming back off an injury. How will he work into that group there for Coach Braswell? The Bruin squad, though, is one that you just can't count out, it feels like, ever these days.
Yeah, they're going to be a team that have a big question mark, though, because, we all have so much respect for Coach Marlowe, what he's done at the South Florence program. Now he'll be at Sumter. We'll talk about them in 5A. I'm curious to see what this team's going to look like without his direction. I think he made a great hire. We'll see how much of that Dutch Fork style comes over with Coach Braswell. But I'm very, very keen on seeing how the South Florence team looks this year compared to, the Marlowe era. And Gaffney, I tell you what, this is a team that we kind of wrote off during the season last year. And then when the playoffs rolled around, everybody was like, uh-oh, I mean, they had a chance to win it all. They were very, very competitive, got knocked out by Northwestern in a really, really close ball game, a shootout. If they can carry that momentum into this year, they are going to be a scary, scary team to watch. That's going to be, you look at those top three for me. I think the top two for sure. And then Gaffney not far behind them. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Another team that I like a lot, John, I would probably have in my personal top three right now, the West Side Rams. That bunch is loaded. Last year, I believe they started off 0-4, 0-5,
At least the first
6,
four.
whatever it was. Then they got in region play, ran the table, made some noise in the playoffs. That was a young bunch who just got better and better. Quarterback Bear Woods is back. Running back Damari Robinson. Some really good receivers with Jaden White, and then the BHP transfer Tajay Watson, a UVA commit comes over. Defensively, the defensive lineman Christian Webb-Scott, he's a freak. They got Malachi Peterson, Colby Flood, another transfer from Fountain Inn as well on that side of the ball. Coach Lane's bunch, I feel like, is poised to make a deep playoff run this year. I would have had them higher than 5 in my poll. That number 6 team, Indian Land, really intriguing. Dropping down from 5A, put up tons of numbers last year with Sequel Patterson and that crew. The quarterback, Matt Casilla, is back. He can sling it around. They really need Christian Hunt and Kenneth Wilson to kind of step up, take some bigger roles from an offense. Defensively, linebacker Jackson Connor, Jackson Headley are two really good players. And this is a team, John, people forget, they lost 2 games last year, both to Northwestern. I mean, you could really make an argument they may have been the number 2 class in 5A Division II last year. Like, they may have been the number 2 squad. I mean, that was the only 2 games they lost. Like, they were really good. Interested to see what Coach Hastings can do building off of that momentum they had last year.
Yeah, they were a great team. I got to watch them a couple times last year. Really fun team to watch. Can they do, again, a lot of questions I have is, can they do it 2 years in a row? That's going to be the big question for Indian Land for me. But gosh, they were a physically strong team last year. They've got to keep that up this year.
Yeah, rounding out the top 10, a newcomer to 4A, TL Hanna. They dropped down from 5A. They've got the Cole brothers, Brock at running back, linebacker Carson, defensive lineman Octavius West there for Coach Tone. North Augusta, quarterback Colin Tillman takes over. He'll be the go-to man this year. Love their defensive line. Davion McKenna, Simeon Jones, 2 really good players up front for Coach Bush's bunch there. They will be fun to watch and probably, wreck the game somewhat up front for the Yellow Jackets there. Greenwood's interesting team to me. You lose Tristan Lewis, your go-to player. You lose Desiree Christian as well to transfer. Quarterback battle with Quay Justinson and Zatavian White. Got to replace 17 starters from last year's team there for Coach Liner. That's really tough to do there. And then Hilton Head Island, a team that I feel like has been playing better and better the last couple of years. Quarterback Derek Wisniewski is back. Receiver A. McDonald is back. Really excited to watch Thad Zarnecki for another year at running back and linebacker. One of the better 2A players we see in the state, especially at the 4A level. So that back half of the top 10 is cool to me. Just a couple teams that just feel like have some unknowns about them for sure, especially with TL Hanna and Greenwood.
Yeah, I think TL Hanna could be a little bit low where they are at 7. I think they're going to cause everybody they play a lot of problems. And that's, whether they're in a 5A or 4A, I think it's the same story. They can be beat for sure, but they are a team that is a handful to have to prepare for and to play 48 minutes against. Greenwood I have a lot of question marks with, losing as much as they did. I don't know if I would have them in the top 10 to start the season off. They can certainly earn their way in there. And Hilton Head, what they've done the last, couple of years, they've certainly earned the respect.
Yeah, agreed. On my 2 high and 2 low list, 2 high, I had Greenwood. I also had Gaffney. I'm just not sure if they're number 3 team right now. That seemed a bit high for me. I think they're a good squad. We'll get there, but I don't know if they're 3 at this point. And then 2 low, I had Westside. Like I said, I'd have had them higher. I think North Augusta as well could have been a little bit higher than that 8 spot. Would have had them a touch above there as well. And then 2 teams in the receiving votes I had. I also had Hilton Head Island higher than number 10. I think they could have jumped a couple teams there as well. And then 2 teams in the receiving votes I had that I would have had ranked in my poll. Fountain Inn, quarterback Sam Holliday, 40 touchdowns last year. Offensive lineman Nathan McSwain's a great player for them. Defensively, led by Gavin Piles and defensive back E.J. Lundy. They have 25 seniors. People remember this is still a team that's really getting going. Like, this is, I think, their 5th year playing varsity football, maybe 4th. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's 5. Yeah.
7 starters back on offense, 6 back on defense. Coach Nichols' bunch is taking steps. 2 years ago, made the playoffs first time. Last year, got to host a playoff game for the first time. I think this year they win a playoff game, keep taking some more steps there for him. I like that Fury bunch a lot this year. the Holiday kid at quarterback is one of the best in the state. Like, he is a treat to watch running and throwing the football. Another team, John, I had too low, should have been in the top 10. Lugoff Elgin. The Demons are good. Playmaker Eric Landlord Richardson, per Coach Littlejohn, most explosive player in the state. Reminds him of Percy Harvin. Can kind of do it all. Run it, catch it, wildcat, throw it, whatever you need to do. He is a stud there. He's a coastal commit. Really good player there. E.J. Richardson is. Running back Tyon Fanning comes over from White Knoll. He's got a lot of experience. He's been a really good player the last couple years for the Timberwolves there. Love to see him, getting in for the Demons. Then quarterback Zach Williams is back. Receiver Kenny Cunningham is back. That Demon bunch, John, has a lot of offensive playmakers. I think they're a dangerous team in 4A this year.
They're a pretty electric offense last year, too. If they can get a little bit of defense to help them out this year, I think this team, a lot of momentum, a lot of positivity, a lot of going forward for them. They got to deal with the AC floor. My team that's outside the top 10 that I think should have been in there is AC floor. They're in the same region. They might decide who wins that region. AC floor, they must have lost a lot from last year because this was a really good team last year.
Yeah. They lost a few pieces. A couple of teams, I want to shout out Wilson. I like what Coach Wilson does. They were a team that was kind of surprised last year, won a playoff game on the road, I believe it was. They got hot. Devon Bowman and Brian Wilson, great players. They do have a freshman quarterback. That scares me some for that Tigers bunch there, but they'll be a proving team. May River, new head coach Stephen Nimmer comes over from Powdersville, was the DC there. They've been so run heavy the last couple of years. They're actually going to air it out a little bit now. Offensive coordinator Chris Knight. They'll be a fun team to watch the Sharks. I like quarterback Luke Tran and Mason Swigert, Tony Cooper at running back. They'll be a fun team to follow. A team I've got my eye on, John. I've been fooled before by them. I hope they don't do that this year for me. The Myrtle Beach Seahawks, a team that has had so many great quarterbacks over the years. You think back to a Luke Doty or a Everett Golson. Even before that, you go to I think it was J.D. Melton, some really good players back in the day. They may have the next one now in Camden DeBrule, a 6'3 kid, big kid. They want to throw it around a lot. They got two good receivers, J.J. Brown and Amari Brown. I think I saw an interview with Coach Wilson said, hey, usually we try to 50-50. This year, we're going to be like 70-30 pass to run. He's like, we want to air it out. That Myrtle Beach team, I've been kind of begging for them to be good because like the Horry County area as a whole has been down the last couple of years. I think the Seahawks might be a team that can make some noise this year in 4A.
Yeah, and this is a team that they made it third round of the playoffs last year, and they kind of found their way in there without us talking about them a whole lot. They're definitely, that's another program that's you can never write them off.
Yeah. A couple of kids I wanted to shout out. Lucy Beckham, they got a big Georgia committed offensive line. Ty Johnson. Bluffton has a Amari Patterson, the North Carolina commit for them. Really good player. I want to shout out Conway. I'm intrigued by them. They made a great hire with Jody Generette, former West Florence head coach, comes over. That's a team that has been down for several years now. I think they've got some talent. The McClendon kid, defensive line's a great player. Offensively, Makai Canty will be the quarterback. Gabe Williams will be the running back for them. I don't know if this is, year one, complete turnaround, make a deep run type deal, but I think the Tigers will be improved from what we've seen the last couple of years. And then Greer, love the running back Calvin McCoy. I think 1,500-plus yards last year. He had a great season for Coach Young there. I like that group at Greer. They could be a fun team to follow. And then Westwood, Coach Burris's bunch. They've got some really good playmakers on the defensive line. A.J. Veal, I think he's an ECU commit. Adrian Mobley, linebacker E.J. Smith's a good player. Running back Jovan Howard. They lost 34 seniors. That worries me, but they've got some talent back there for Coach Burris. And then Midland Valley intrigues me there. Xavier Jeter, superstar at quarterback. Cam Gleaton, time tight end for them. Running back Preston Smith is back as well. Got some good offensive pieces. Can they make the stops on defense? They need to make a run. I don't know. But I like what Coach Dorn's doing there. That Mustangs bunch will be fun to follow as well.
I think we can come to the conclusion 4A, pretty stacked. We got a lot of depth in this classification.
Yes, it is. Anybody else you want to shout out? If not, feel free, Jerel, to pop on the screen. Give us some comments. One more I do want to shout out. Lake Wiley, new high school coming in. They take Nick Pelham goes up there in York County, coming over from White Knoll. I don't think they'll be necessarily a good team this year because they'll be so young, but they're a team to keep an eye on that next couple years for sure. The Chargers will be a fun program to follow and watch them build up.
Yeah, got some comments for you guys.
Carol says the Gaffney Indians. Steven says Westside's taking the 4A state title. They're a good squad, Steven. I like what that group has there for Coach Lane. Brenda says he's going 4A, South Point, Irmo loaded, South Carolina commit. Yeah, Miami commit. They got tons of playmakers, man. It's one of the more talented Queens teams we've seen, Brandon. Said Lauren's a team he thinks will be improved. Yeah, I think Lauren's won one game last year, had a freshman quarterback. He is back. Obviously, Coach Porter's group, you would think they would certainly take a step forward here in year 3 for him. Slick says South Florence plays the Stags for in the Berkeley Jamboree. That'll be a good matchup there. The Bruins and the Stags, two teams that I like a lot. Travis says Westside's defense probably the best this year in the last 5 seasons. Bear Woods and the offense hitting on all cylinders, especially with the transfers. Yeah, I told you guys, I said it multiple times. I think 5 is too low for that team. Roquest says, 2 state titles, upper state titles, still no respect. Hey, it's not our poll, man. It's not our poll. But yeah, I agree. I think 5 seems low for what they've got coming back there. Jesse says, hey, good to see you, Jesse. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you being in here tonight. Looking forward to watching those Irmo squads this year.
Yeah, I'll let you take that drink of water there, Kev. I know you've been trying to do that, but yeah, I think you guys, you guys got it covered. Again, 4A, like John mentioned, is completely loaded. I love all these regions once again, other than the fact that my TR Devil Dogs got to go through this gauntlet in 2. They got to go over the reservation this year, play Greenville as well. So that's not going to be fun for that bunch, but I think they're going to be improved this year. Region 1's going to be fun. Obviously, Westside and Hannah is always fun. Greenwood. I think the X factor here too is you're mentioning that Lugoff Elgin team. This is going to be fun a few weeks down the road. We got to assume that's going to be the split region. So to see like who comes out of that, whether it's Westwood or AC Flora or Lugoff Elgin, like where do they end up seeding wise? I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Like you said, with Lugoff, I think the sky's the limit. They have a really good squad. And then lower state, you got to just highlight Irmo, South Florence. You just really got to think that they're going to do it. And, I love Region 6 down there. They play some good football, some high-scoring games. And Coach Nimmer saying in the offseason that he's going to air it out. It's going to be a lot of fun, too. Yeah,
2 more teams I did miss in the upper state, which is crazy to think about. We didn't talk about them. Greenville, a team that has been so good lately. Year 2 for Coach Watson there. Yeah. They bring back some talent. Keyshawn Farrow at quarterback, Trip Bryant's over the field. They've got some good pieces there. I'm intrigued to see what they can do in Region 2. Running backs Dogan and Bell, receiver Moses been making great players. Julian Renrick at running back, or linebacker, still back. I like that bunch. And then a team that Armani mentioned earlier, Clover. Aaron Sheely at quarterback's back. Grady Stone is back at running back. Coach Swag, we know he can coach. That'll be a fun region too. I think South Point probably has to be the favorite there in that region. But you look at, you got Indian Land, they're good. I think Clover's good. Catawba Ridge has some talent.
We didn't talk about Catawba. They're always good, especially on defense.
Really intrigued by Nation Ford. Year 2 for Coach Jake Bentley. How much of his program is it growing this year? I like what they've got as well there for the Falcons. So if there's no more comments, guys, let's make some picks for 4A, upper and lower state. Who wants to go first with our way too early predictions?
Way too early.
I'll go first because I think it's Irmo's to lose. They really don't have any excuse this year. They've got as much talent as they've had. And you don't have to deal with that neighbor across town anymore either. Not come playoff time anyways. But, I don't think they were in the same classification or like same division last year.
Yeah.
But I like Irmo. I like Irmo to win it all. I think, let's see, they're going to be – Irmo will be upper state, right?
Lower state. They'll be lower
state. I think Irmo – oof, boy. I think Irmo knocks off – you know what? I'm going to say, again, let's have fun. This is preseason. I'm going to say Irmo knocks off TL Hannah.
Ooh.
I think Hannah, I think Gaffney will be the favorite going into the playoffs, and TL Hannah finds a way to get there.
I'll say, like Jerel, you don't have to pick a winner. John just going extra steps there for us. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, he likes saying, I like the crosstown rival. I like Westside. I don't think, Coach Lane, honestly, is getting enough, credit for what he's done, especially the last few years, the amount of success they've had. This is a team in Westside, like you mentioned, they were 0-4. I don't think they won a non-region game. No, and then you look up and they're playing for the upper state championship game because they just kept getting better because their freshman quarterback, who's a stud, progressed throughout the season. And so I think that's the Westside team. You add Tajay Watson Martin. I mean, he's one of the most dynamic playmakers in the state to an already stout bunch with what they do on offense. There's been some comments saying that their defense is better than it normally is. I mean, I'll look out for West Side, and then I got to agree in the lower state. You got to go Irmo. Like you just have to. Like they've got to get it done this year. But again, you can't count out South Florence. I mean, even with the coaching change, Coach Braswell, I mean, we're not talking about a guy that's not used to playing for state championships and winning them. So I think he's going to maybe tweak the system a little bit there. But again, he comes from a championship pedigree. So you have to think that the Bruins are going to be in the mix as well.
I was going to say, are we all going to go and not even mention the team that's played for four straight state titles at a lower state as a contender there? I think upper state to me, I like West Side too. I know I've been beating that drum tonight. It feels like I like that group a lot. I just don't know enough about South Point yet to feel confident in that decision. I don't know enough of the playmakers yet to pick the Stallions. So I think it's West Side. I think West Side plays Irmo. I think that's the matchup for me. And it's time for Irmo to do it. I mean, they just, they haven't won that big game. It feels like the last week. Even though some regular season games, they lost to Dutch Fork the last 2 years. They were really good teams. Couldn't quite get it done there. Obviously lost to two state title games. Time for them to win one of those big ones, you would think, for Coach Brand's bunch. I think Irmo West Side, looking for a big matchup there in 4A. But, Jerel, if no more comments, feel free to shout out friends of the program or flash them on the screen, whatever you want to do, and we'll go from there.
I would give him 15 out of 10 stars. You'll always be super satisfied with Preferred.
And they're still getting great reviews.
I recommend them to everyone.
Don't wait. Call Preferred Home Services today to schedule your Precision 21-point tune-up for just $79.
5-star performance! Most trusted.
Most convenient.
And still the most experienced.
Preferred Home Services. Go, 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 Preferred!
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on-the-go, the pick-up-and-go, and the I-want-to-go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
Let's take a look at the 5A classification now, John. If you guys have been, not paying attention to it, haven't heard about it. Basically, they are switching finally back to just one class now. It's been Division I, Division II last couple of years. Now it is back to just one 5A. Everybody playing for the same state title. John, let's look at the poll for that classification.
Yeah, receiving votes, we've got White Knoll, Berkeley, Carolina Forest, River Bluff, Rock Hill, Hillcrest, and Lexington. At number 10, Spartanburg. 9 is Gray, stepping up to 5A this year. At 8, you got the Sumter Gamecocks. 7 is Ridgeview. 6, James Island. 5, Somerville. 4 is Dorman. 3 is Burns. 2 is Northwestern, getting 3 of those first place votes. And number 1, to no surprise, is Dutch Fork, getting 12 of the first place votes.
Another loaded squad there for Coach Knotts. 4 state titles in a row, 9 out of 10. 10 overall now. If he gets one this year, he will tie the late, great John McKissick for most in-state history with 11. A group that is always right there at the end, we know, John. They bring back a lot of good pieces. Quarterback Jackson Knotts, 2,800 yards, 28 touchdowns last year. Running backs Kyle Henry and Quentin Wilson are back. A couple transfer receivers, Malik and Corey Miller, come over from Irmo. 2 big-time playmakers. They get it done different ways. Malik's more of a shorter, more electric guy. Corey's more of an outside deep threat there, but 2 really good playmakers. A great offensive line led by center Brody Lorenzo and Jay McGowan. Defensively, the Clemson commit Jaden Worth up front, along with Peyton Bishop, and defensive back Kareem Dupree. A loaded squad again for Coach Knotts, John. Certainly deserving of that number 1 ranking. Number 2, another team that's pretty daggum good, and that's the Northwestern Trojans. Back-to-back Division II state titles for Coach Walford there. They returned a bunch of playmakers as well, and they got some new guys into that group this year. Quarterback Xavier Means last year, 2,800 yards passing, 1,200 yards rushing, 52 total touchdowns, John, in a high school season. That is a pretty nuts number there. Running back Quay Mobley's back. Receivers Malik Ratliff and Caden Vassell. A really good offensive line. I like that group up front for the Trojans. Defensively led by KJ Berg. Even defensive lineman Malik Darby. Returned 6 starters on offense, 5 on defense. I don't know how you don't have these guys at 1 and 2, Dutch Fork and Northwestern this year, John. They, I think, are the best 2 teams in that class by far.
Yeah, I think Burns would argue that, they could, with the amount of talent they have this year, I think they would argue that they could be the best team in the upper state this year, best team in the state, arguably. I don't blame them. I can see them making that argument. But yeah, I mean, from what we've seen the past, you can go back 1 year, go back 2 years, however far you want to go back, but especially the last 2 years, you can't argue the 1 and 2. And this is a group. I think the last 2 years, there's a lot of people in the state, including ourselves, would have loved to have seen Northwestern and Dutch Fork play. We might get that wish this year.
Certainly could. The 3 and 4 teams there, you mentioned number 3, John Burns. Running back Trey Segura, the LSU commit, 1,500 yards, 70 touchdowns last year. Jacoby Fuller, also a good running back with him. He's a big-time playmaker. Receiver Chew Harris, a Syracuse commit. Quarterback battle right now with Gideon Merritt, the Riverside transfer, and Walker Burdett. Defensively, DB Aiden Wiggins, an Auburn commit, leads the back end, and then Nazir Ingram at linebacker there for Coach Shaw's bunch. A team that, man, they're talented. This is their year to make a deep run, I think, for the Rebels there. Number 4, Dorman. They bring back a lot of pieces for Coach Morris. Nick Means, 1,300-plus yards last year. Running back Carter Nash is a youngster who will spell him a little bit as well. Quarterback Cooper Patterson steps in. Receiver Juice Watkins-Hines is back. Defensively, James Porter up front is a monster. And then Jabez Thomas on the back end, one of the better corners I saw last year. Really gets it done there for the Cavaliers. 2 more really good upstate squads there with Burns and Dorman, John.
Yeah, Burns this is another, it's kind of like Irmo. This is really their year. They really want to make a splash. I feel like we've made some excuses for them the last 2 years. They played nothing but road games when they were getting the stadium redone. They had some just inconsistencies, it seems like, on the offensive side of the football. This year, they've got the talent. They've got the talent to do it, and I'll be interested to see if they can put it all together.
A couple lower state squads at 5 and 6. 5, Somerville, the Green Wave, led by running back Javen Williams, the JMU commit, 2,300 yards, 24 touchdowns last year. New quarterback Ethan DeWater steps in. Receivers Teru Davis, Jalen Pounds are back. Offensive lineman Nolan Jay is back. Defensive line led by DeMarcus King. And you got Jalen Pryor and Eli Presley on the back end for Coach Ian Rafferty there. The number 6, James Island. A new quarterback, Brady Dancer, steps in, taking over for his brother, Connor, who led them last year. Couple good receiving options. I love Raphael Puyu out wide. He's a stud for Coach McCoy's bunch. And then Sam Crumpton at tight end is a great playmaker as well. Lost a lot on defense. Got to fill those spots in. I think the Trojans and Coach McCoy have proven that they are a contender year in, year out, it feels like to me, John. And then number 7, Ridgeview. An intriguing team to me, kind of bit by the injury bug a lot the last couple of years. Quarterback Trey Howard is back and healthy. Running back Stephen Bobian. Receivers Christian Jackson, Isaiah Small, and Kanye Reed. Offensive lineman James Ross, a USC commit, but outside of him, lost 4 other offensive line starters. So a little bit of new pieces to fill in there for them. Defensively, lost a bunch of starters as well. We will be led by DJ Epps and Kingston Lucas there for Coach Derek Howard.
Yeah, and I have a lot of questions about those teams. There's just a lot that I need to see proved, throughout the season. With Dorman, they're there. It seems like they're there. They had a good playoff run last year. And they get a little more offense going. They've got a great defense. They get a little more offense going. Dorman's going to be very tough. Somerville, I just don't know what to think yet. You lose Jaden Kelly Murray. Such a good team last year. Don't think they're going to be a big drop-off, but just how much, I don't know.
Yeah, certainly. Rounding out the top 10, number 8, Sumter. New head coach Drew Marlowe comes over from South Florence to take over that squad. Quarterback Franklin Richardson, monster athlete. Probably will throw it a little bit more this year than they have in the past. He's a really good playmaker for them. Running backs Cleve Pinckney and Reggie Shannon. A little bit of work to do up front to figure out that offensive line, but I'm sure they will. Defensively led by Nashawn Brown at linebacker, defensive end Rashawn Dickey, and then athlete Ari Rendell is a really intriguing prospect for me there for the Gamecocks. Number 9, Gray Collegiate. Crazy to think a team that was playing 2A football, I guess, just 3 years ago, is now in the 5A classification for Coach D'Angelo Bryant. Sophomore quarterback Xavier Wright had 2,200 yards, 22 touchdowns last year. Running back Trayvon Williamson, 1,625 touchdowns last year. Receivers Royce Williamson and Corey Gleaton, and offensive lineman Jack Armstrong lead that bunch there of War Eagles. And number 10, Spartanburg. Running back Trenton Lynch. John, how about this? He is a Rutgers commit, and he is less than 1,000 yards from breaking the school record. And think about that. Spartanburg's had Stephen Davis, Tavian Feaster, some really good backs there in that Vikings program, and he has a very good chance to break that record this year. It'll be fun to follow that progress there for Trenton Lynch. Quarterback Arian Desai steps in. Receiver Skylar Douglas is playing for them defensively, led by Tryon Duncan and R.J. Estrich. They returned 7 starters on offense, 9 on defense. They're a team that I think is going to be sneaky this year. A lot of continuity, maybe a little bit undersized. They got some quickness there. I like that Vikings bunch there for Coach Hodge. Yeah, I do too. Lynch he's another guy I feel like, and probably all Spartanburg's opponents feel like he's been there for 5 or 10 years too. An incredible player. Would like to see Spartanburg be a little more than just one-dimensional. It seemed like their offense, really, really relies on him a lot, which you expect that. But they've got to be a little bit better, I think, from a dynamic standpoint offensively. I think they'll make that step. I think they got the opportunity there. And I want to talk a minute about Franklin Richardson at Sumter and Coach Marlowe. He's a guy, I've gotten to see him play a couple times the last few years. Feel like he's been at Sumter forever. I mean, he is an incredible talent to have back there. I know he's getting recruited as a running back, which it makes sense. But we talk about high school football, even at the 5A level, you want to put, not always, but a lot of times you want to put your best athlete at the quarterback position. And that's exactly what you have at Sumter with Richardson. I think the combination of his experience, how he can take over a game when he needs to. He's got the size, physicality, and Coach Marlowe's, the way that he can scheme and the way that he can get his teams prepared. That's a team I've really got my eyes on. I talked about, like 4, 5, and 6, I'm kind of unsure of. Teams 8, 9, and 10, I'm really excited about. Really, I got green arrows with all 3 of those schools. Yeah, and it's pretty crazy. Now, I was looking at the top 10, and I was like, too high. Who do I write down? There's nobody I feel like is super, too high. But then I had 3 teams that put them too low. So I was like, who's going to move down? So I don't know. I just needed a bigger poll, I guess. I don't know. But a couple squads I wanted to mention. That Berkeley team there for Coach Lodge. I like them a lot. They're in the receiving votes. 4-year starter at quarterback Henry Rivers, played a ton of football. Really good athlete there. I like what he does for Coach Lodge's bunch. Two running backs are back. Jesse Brown, Cameron McHugh. Defensively lost a couple key pieces, but I like Ja'Kai Chapman up front. And how about this, guys? They hired Bruce Ellington. He's back on staff now for them. Love to see that. Very nice. Really cool. And people forget about this Stag squad, John. They played for the lower state title last year. They made a nice run, lost to Irmo. That's a program I think is ready to take a next step this year. The next team I wanted to mention was Rock Hill. As you guys have seen, I'm sure, online, there's been a lot of moving pieces in the Football City USA this year, and Rock Hill was the recipient of some nice pickups for sure. And I think Coach Bulware's bunch is ready to make some noise. Quarterback Jonah Young is back. Receivers Caden Watkins, Brooks, Light. Really talented pieces there. Defensively, you got Kalen Wright, Ja'Shawn Culp, JoJo Brooks, Watkins again, Zymir Gordon. Tons of guys you can name all over the field there. I think that Bearcat bunch is poised to be good again, John. That's another team like similar to Union County. I want to see Rock Hill be good because the team you think of in high school football here. I think that Rock Hill bunch should be solid. And I want to shout out to the kicker, James Eckert, 50-plus yard field goals right now. So he'll be intriguing to see if he can be a big piece for them for that Bearcat squad, a team that I like a lot this year. Yeah, and that's going to be a huge weapon to have. You look at that region too. That is going to be a very, very tough region. It's going to be a fight of, hey, just get into the playoffs. If you can get in the playoffs, you can probably – the playoff will probably be an easier run than your region. But you expect some close games, and having a kicker with that kind of leg
could be the difference in more than one ball game.
Yeah, a couple more teams up. River Bluff, Coach Parks in year 2. Stud receiver Darius Carter out wide for them. Also have a linebacker transferred over from Hammond, Bubba Alexander. He's a big-time playmaker as well for that group. The Gators, I think, are heading the right direction. And then Hillcrest, a team that has been really young the last couple of years. All of those guys are older now, upperclassmen. Quarterback Jackson Free, he's back. He's a stud. Running back Nye Allen is a monster. Receiver Caden Stevenson, just a 10th grader. I think he's a freak out wide for them. Good offensive line led by Max Barnes. Defensively led by Kyle Jackson and Gavin Sullivan. Returned 5 starters on offense, 6 on defense. You got the new head coach, Amos Lamb, a great trainer, a great coach. I think that program is be good again this year for the Rams. I like that Hillcrest bunch in the upper state. They can make some noise as well, I feel like.
Yeah, they've been an electric team, last year, and then to have another year of experience, I think is going to do them really, really well because you could tell last year they certainly have the talent.
Yeah. A couple more teams I wanted to shout out. Malden, the Mavericks, a team that, it had some really tough years, and Coach Cook comes in. How about this? They go winless his first year. They win 2 games his second year. They won 5 games last year in year 3. Year 4, interested to see what he can do. Got some good pieces there. Kamari Cannon, Rylan Walton, C.J. Edwards steps in. Receivers, Tyson Smith, Malachi Ford. Defensively, Josh Evans, Isaiah Thompson. I think the Mavericks, I don't know if they're a state title contender this year, but I think they will continue to improve there for Coach Cook. And I also wanted to shout out Stratford, a team that lost a lot of pieces. Jakin Davis moves on. Malik McGowan moves on. But I like Coach Denny McDaniel a lot down there. I think a edge player to watch, Kermit Davis, absolute monster. He's just a junior for Stratford. Keep an eye on him next year as a big-time recruit. And then running back Malachi Breland steps in. I think there'll be a good squad again down there in Stratford.
That's another really tough region too. Ashley Ridge always seems to find a way to get into the conversation.
Yeah.
They're in that region too. That's going to be fun. I love 5A Lower State. I think 5A Lower State there's some teams that, probably aren't getting the love they deserve, like a Berkeley.
Carolina Forest is always solid. Yeah.
And there's some big names that I don't know how good they are going to be, like Somerville.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, Goose Creek, a team that I think will take a step forward. New head coach Jamie Fordham comes in. They've got a good running back, Sincere Wilson, there for him. I think they are heading back in the right direction as well. Yeah, I think 5A will be fun. JL Mann, year 2 for Coach Smiley. Like they take a step forward with Sullivan and Penland up front. I like that group a lot. Bowling Springs, got to shout out Dennis Glenn Jr., super talented defensive lineman going to Rutgers for Coach Reel's bunch there. I like what he brings to the table. They've got some good playmakers, Deion Suber, DJ Link. 4 offensive linemen are back. Quarterback Emery Logan's back. I think Bowling Springs is a sleeper in the upstate as well, John. Anybody else you want to shout out that we hadn't talked about yet on the program here in 5A?
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Rutgers and whoever is running their recruiting for the Southeast, because they have taken a real shine to South Carolina this year.
Yeah, they certainly have multiple commits, and love to see that, man. It's crazy to see how many, I feel like more and more offers our kids are getting the last couple of years. Like this state is putting out a lot of talent, so it's really cool to see that for sure. Jerel, comments from the chat or comments from you on 5A?
Thought you were going to tease Super 75. I mean, this 2027 class is completely loaded, so it's been really, really fun to keep up with. But looking at 5A, I mean, obviously Upper State, you just look at those 2 juggernauts. You think that they're going to, match up in the playoffs at some point. So I'm really intrigued by that. And again, you're looking at Region 2, especially with Dorman. What can they do? Carter Nash, also big time baseball prospect as well. So I mean, he might not play football in 2 years from now.
Well,
he might be in minor league somewhere.
It's crazy to look at, Jerel. The top 4 in that poll are all Upper State. Like, I mean, that's just nuts to think about. And outside of those 4, you got teams like Rock Hill, like Bowling Spring, like Hillcrest. I mean, it's going to be a fun Upper State 5A for sure.
Another part of the Burns equation we didn't talk about, Schuler Bentley coming over there to be the offensive coordinator as well. I mean, that's huge, got a Bentley coaching at Burns. So you got to think that that's going to work. But this has to be, I mean, it's so hard that you have to stare at Dutch Fork and Northwestern. But again, this Burns squad is uber talented. If you have the opportunity, go check out that stadium as well. That is really impressive. But I think the story in the lower state is twofold. I mean, is what do you get out of Sumter? Because I don't think you can make a better hire with Drew Marlowe there, with He's played for 4 straight state championships at South Florence. And I mean, his brand of football just fits Sumter. I mean, so you got to think they're going to be great. And then that, trio or quadrant of those Charleston area teams, like an Ashley Ridge, kind of James Island, or a Berkeley kind of dethrone Somerville, who's kind of been on top in that area so far. And I think it's just going to be cool. And another team we just haven't talked about, and I can't believe it, I'm looking at Region 5, Fort Dorchester. What do they do this year? We have not talked about those guys for like 2 years. So hopefully they're making correct strides. I think we haven't talked about them since we saw them play a first-round playoff game against White Knoll 3 years ago. So hopefully they're making some strides forward. Yep. It's really intriguing storylines here in 5A.
Speaking of White Knoll, one of the better hires of the cycle, Victor Floyd, coming from Chester to Timberwolves there. That'll be a fun program to watch. But I do want to hit again on Sumter. Like you said, Jerel, is there a better match from the style that Drew Marley wants to play and the type of town and kids that grow up than there is at Sumter? I mean, big, physical, nasty. It's going to be a match made in heaven. I think I texted you guys when that hire was made. I said Franklin Richardson might run for 2,000 yards. Like, I mean, you think about what he did with Lenore Sellers. Like, Franklin's not quite the passer of Lenore. It's not quite as big, but man, he can run the football. And we saw what good success Sellers had under Coach Marler there. I think you see a monster year from Franklin Richardson. I think, like I said, 2,000, I think is certainly possible for him this year. And,
Lenore's ran with great vision. He kind of was patient, find the hole, find where he can go. Richardson, he creates the hole. He makes people into a hole. He runs into you. He's a very physical player. It's going to be fun. That's going to be a really fun team to watch. It's going to be hard for me to not pull for them.
Yeah, like Travis said, 5A is a gauntlet. It certainly is. So I guess Swimmer Gaffney again coming up this season next Friday. Yeah, that's one thing too. You see with some of these reclassifications, you see some teams play non-region early on in the year. They used to be traditional region rivals. So cool to see some of that stuff shaking up here this season. Who wants to go first with their 5A upper and lower state championship picks, guys?
I'll go first this time. I think I haven't gone yet. I'll go low-hanging fruit. Going to go Dutch Fork Upper State.
That's low-hanging fruit this year?
I mean, 9 out of 10. That's all I'm going to say.
I know.
That's no disrespect to Paige Wofford and Northwestern, because I am not picking against them probably all year unless they play Dutch Fork, and that's still TBD. And then lower state, I like that Berkeley bunch. I like Berkeley. I think it's, again, like we talked about with Irma on some of these other programs, it feels like it's their time to kind of dethrone Somerville this year. Would not be surprised if Somerville ends up playing Dutch Fork again in the state title game. But, again, the team to watch is Sumter in the lower state.
Yeah. John, who do you like, or do you want me to go, or what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I've probably already shown my cards here. I got to go Dutch Fork, of course. I hope the upper state championship is Dutch Fork Northwestern, because I've been wanting to see that game for a few years now. That would be really, really fun. And then lower state, I think it's Sumter. I like all the ingredients they have in place. It looks really, really good for the Gamecocks. I'm not sold on Somerville yet. I think James Island has a lot of question marks. Sumter, I just like what I see. I like what I know.
Are we overlooking Ridgeview and Gray Collegiate a little bit in the lower state?
I think Gray, perhaps. I feel like Ridgeview had a lot of talent the last couple of years, and they just couldn't quite get there. I don't think they have the same amount of talent this year as they've had.
For me, with Gray Collegiate, it's like you mentioned. You went from playing in a 2A state title game 3 years ago to playing 5A football. Have they built the depth? Like I said, Coach Bryant's one of my favorite coaches in the state. This is a program that's won a lot of games, but just that drastic jump, due to the multiplier over the years, I just don't know if they have enough, horses in the barn to compete right now.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it feels like 5A is upper states to win. It really does, which is just crazy. I'd like to see one of those teams get flipped to lower and, maybe a little better state title matchup, because right now it feels like it's heavily upper state. I'm going to go Berkeley as well out of lower state, John, or Jerel. I think you took Berkeley too. Like you said, I think they've been heading the right direction. I think it's their time now to get to that point. Somerville may come out and light it up week 1 with South Florence. Like, you know what? I'm with Sumter, I think Somerville's week 1. I may change my mind right away with that matchup. We'll see. But I'm going to go Berkeley right now. And then out of the upper state, I mean, I don't know how you pick against either one of those teams. Honestly, I'm going to go with the longevity. It's a legacy pick for Coach Knotts and the boys. So like you said, 4 in a row, 9 out of 10. I'm going to go with them. But I mean, nobody can hate on anybody for picking somebody else like Northwestern in that group for sure.
And this couldn't be further from the truth. They are not an underdog in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
It's literally like, again, love that program, love the players, love Coach Wofford. TK, he's literally a top 5 high school coach probably of all time.
Yeah.
And so
and
it's
now
just
remember,
hard
this
to
is
pick against that guy.
Way too early preseason pick. When the game comes around, things could be totally different. Who knows what's going to happen? But upper state is going to be fun. I mean, because like you mentioned, Burns and Dorman, I feel like are right there as well. You know, Dorman played Dutch Fork as close as anybody last year in the playoffs. Gave them a real run for their money. You know, hung around for quite a while. They were Coach Morris. Burns, you mentioned the talent they've got there as well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, man, to follow 5A. Will be an interesting class this year. But any more comments in the chat on 5A, Jerel, before we look at some friends of the program?
Yeah.
Travis, Westside plays Ashley Ridge next Friday. That will be. I learned a lot about Ashley Ridge. I don't know a ton about them right now. They got a few decent pieces on offense. Williams says, great collegiate, not capable of state. Watch out for HH. Is that Hilton Head?
Right,
Hilton Head.
Hilton Head, interesting. Yeah, they got some talent there for sure. Their team we're looking at, Love Wisniewski and Zarnecki and those guys there for Coach Payne will be a fun team to follow. Parenthesis, Oceanside James Allen good game next week too. It certainly is. I mean, if you want to go down to the lower state next Friday, you can catch a good ball game, no doubt about it, with Somerville hosting and then James Allen hosting as well. Huff Northwestern next Friday. Fred, yeah. I was wishing we'd get one of these games on a Saturday. We'd love to go to a Saturday matchup. Somebody move one of these to Saturday, and I'll be into that one too. So I'd love to make 2 games next week because that is loaded with talent there too. Kofi says, DB, Michael Cannon, offensive linebackers, Aiden Addison, Malden, let's go. Trending upwards for sure there for the Mavericks. Matthew says, Colleton County sleeper in 4A. They got a good coach. Coach Bradley Adams had him on a couple weeks ago, trying to turn that program around. They've got some young talent, it feels like, there for the Cougars. Bet on Dutch Forks, says Riverside. I mean, I don't know how you don't. I mean, it's no offense to anybody else, but that program has earned the respect, it feels like, of everybody in the state.
9 out of 10. That's all you got to know.
Pretty wild. Well, Jerel, let's shout out friends of the program here before we move on to a couple little housekeeping items here.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. All right, guys, don't forget, next Tuesday night, our Week 1 preview show, 7:15, live on Facebook and YouTube. Hope you will join us there for that. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. If you're not already, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. Website, movinchains.com, and podcasts on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Starting next week, we'll have our Pick'em. That'll be back. We have games of the week, stock up, stock down. I guess be in 2 weeks. We'll have our hot routes next week as well. Lots of great stuff coming. So be sure to follow us on all social media platforms to see all that great stuff next week. As always, get your Moving the Chains merch. We've got some T-shirts right now, black T-shirts, gray, pink, and navy blue, along with this new kind of athletic T-shirt here as well that we were showing off. I love to have you guys supporting us with that type of stuff. A couple great hoodies, kind of a stone color and a gray color, along with a kind of a performance black one now as well. Order your stuff today. There's pictures up on our website and social media platforms. Get your toboggan today as well, gray or black, and get your hats, Richardson hats, gray front, black back, black front, up there. We got a gray front, khaki back. Enter Moving the Change stickers as well. Email us info@movingchange.com. Send us a DM on social media. We'll get you set up. Love to have you guys supporting the boys, supporting the crowd. I mean, I just cannot wait, John, for next week. We got some actual games to talk about. It'll be fun to see the guys teeing it up next Friday night.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's gonna be fun. We got some great matchups in week 1 as well to look forward to.
No doubt about it. We've got a couple more season previews on certain teams coming out in the next couple of days. A couple more new coach interviews as well coming out. So check those out on social media platforms. It'll be a lot of fun to watch and see how this season gets going. Jerel, any other comments from you or from the chat before we wrap up here?
Nothing from the chat, but yeah, check out those interviews, please. I got some really good season previews teed up, and then again on our YouTube or socials as well. Go check out any of those new coach series. I mean, we really got some great insight from those guys who are, looking to build a foundation. I mean, and that's the cool thing about that series. It's either people who are in the process of a rebuild, so you get to kind of see their backgrounds, or you get to see somebody who's trying to sustain success, like a Braswell stepping in for Drew Marlowe down there at South Florida. So it's a lot of fun doing those this offseason.
Yeah, once again, guys, tell all your friends, man. Love to have this thing popping next Wednesday or next Tuesday night, talking about all the big games. So get in here, tell your friends, share it, like, subscribe, all that great stuff, and check us out next week and throughout the seasons. We want to just make high school football great again, man. We want to talk about it as much as we can, get people watching it, get people to go into games and whatnot. So hopefully y'all will join us for that. But for Jerel Hendricks and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Moving the Chains 3A, 4A, and 5A season preview show for 2026. We will catch you guys next week.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Moving the Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin' Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.